So I've been in this room, this studio for about, wow, it's echoey. I've been in this studio for about 3 months now, so I figure it's time we do a studio tour. As you walk in, you see a big wall. This big wall. As you can see, I much prefer to use a wall rather than a sketchbook, and I like that because it lets me see all of my ideas at once. With a sketchbook, you can only see 1 or 2 ideas at a time, and if you want to kind of combine and amalgamate them, you have to flip back and forth, but with this, you can take 2 drawings, put them right beside each other, and then work from there. I find it's a much more natural and organic way of kind of creating from previous creation. On the wall, there are 10-minute sketches, there are hour-long sketches, there are a bunch of sketches that I'm not really sure what they're going to be yet, but I'm really excited about them. There are things from painting prompts too, there are a bunch of oil sketches that I really want to get to. It's a real passion of mine. But the wall is essentially something that is ever changing. It comes up, it comes down, and it's something that I feel really speaks to my state of mind in regards to art at the time, and it's something that's ever changing. It's a lot of fun in the room. It can look a little messy, but you can be a little more organized than I am. The next part of the room I want to talk about is this shelf. This is essentially what I do with all of my hour-long exclusive Patreon lessons once they are complete. There are a lot of them, but that's why it is a large shelf with a lot of shelf I just stripped. If you'd like any of these hour-long lessons, they are all up over on Patreon with the digital sketches. You've heard it a million times before, but I had to say it again because that's where you find them. This is essentially where I edit everything. Here I have some additional hour-long lessons and one of my favorite oil paintings. This is minimalism. This is not. As we move through the room, we get to more of my personal space. There's also another type of art that I really love, and that is oils. They're more just for me, and I work on them in my own time for my own joy. And I think that's important to have when you're working on art, especially if you're doing it for a living. Make things for yourself that you enjoy as well, and keep that passion for it alive. So then as we move to the left-hand side of the room, we find the actual painting station. This is where I do all of the 10-minute lessons, all of the hour-long lessons. And it isn't pretty, as you can see. It's actually just entirely functional. It's a small little place, but it is a place that light doesn't really reflect, so you get a good view of the actual painting, and it's really just efficient. As you can see, there are all of my favorite Liquitex basic paints. And then as we move over to the brushes, you'll find A, me right there, but B, the large, medium, and small square-headed brush, the medium and small round-headed brush, an old square-headed brush, and then a custom rake brush, which I will make a video about in the very near future. Also, a palette knife for blending. If you look at the top of the room, you'll see a string connected to a hook, which goes all the way across to the other side of the room and hangs this curtain here, which gets stuck. It also expands, so I have a much larger shooting area for the 10-minute and hour-long lesson. It also occasionally gets in the way. That's where most of the work gets done, but now we've looked at the right-hand side of the room, we've looked at the back of the room, we've looked at the left-hand side of the room, and we're done pretty much everything with the exception of the closet. Let's take a journey. At the top here, we have packing supply. Side set box, you'll find a bunch of older oil paintings as well, and then if you go even farther behind that, there are just so many paintings. I don't know where to start. Maybe one of these weeks we should go back and look at a lot of my first paintings from when I was a lot younger. I think it could be really interesting, and a lot of them are up there. Down below here we have lots of 10-minute paintings. I'll show you a couple. This is actually my second painting ever. I'll talk about that more in the throwback video. Isn't it weird to see that door open instead of this one? You probably can't see. The shot is way too overexposed. It's entirely white. This is not useful. Isn't it weird to see that door open instead of this one? This shot is not entirely white and slightly more useful. Still a little awkward. Up here there are more older canvas. Then as we move down, we get to loose leaf artist supplies. At the bottom here I have palettes, lighting for shooting at night, a large comforter to occasionally make the audio in this room slightly more bearable. So anyways, there it is. That is the art studio, 3 months in the making. I'll probably do an update video, but I will definitely make a video on how to make that custom rake brush. If you want any of the 10-minute lessons, they're up on YouTube right now. If you want any of these hour-long lessons, they're up on Patreon right now. And I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who does support me and this channel over on Patreon. It's because of you that I can make these videos, that I can make this studio, that I continue to make these tutorials and lessons and all of that. It is because of you and your generosity and the fact that you do want to support me in art and learn about painting. All of that said, new videos coming every Wednesday and Saturday. I will see you soon, and as always, above all, stay crit. Just realized I didn't include Howie in this, so here's a clip of Howie walking away from me.
Howie. This is the curtain that he knocked down.
Howie. Howie.
Howie. Oh, he's so pretty.